I want to feel inspired from what has been said, from the panel discussants who have been here. And there's one thing that we can all agree, that people generally fear change, isn't it? Even when my office and Monica's, Juma's office were put in place, everybody went, oh my God, what are the two offices going to do? Oh, I forgot, feeder in State House, right? We also have the chair of Kenya Law Reforms here. She has always been my cheerleader. I think you should stand up for people to see. Kenya Law Reforms. She has always been my biggest support through the leadership journey. I've seen you and women well represented. Please stand so that people can just see that you're. Thank you for coming in today as well. And then we have, so for me, I was saying today I feel encouraged because people fear change generally. You know, when I got this office and the first man I met in State House asked me, so you're the one who's going to make noise at the president? I said, yes, very good noise. Thank you very much, Sam. And the noise has been good noise because our president has been listening to us. Despite the fact that the office was put in place, we can also attest to the fact this is the government that has the many women in top leadership positions. And I can also tell you State House is gender, is one of the executive offices that has actually balanced gender. We have the judiciary, which is at 56%. I think we should clap for judiciary. And now we are auditing parliament. 2/3 has always been a problem. So parliament and women in leadership and within that space is our next level. But when it comes to executive, I think we are there. We have not managed to get the 50+1, but for as long as Sholei, Monica, Juma, and Wako are here, and Senator Muma and others, I know we'll achieve it. You can clap. You see, when electricity was invented, everybody was all scared, isn't it? It's the same that the change we have to put in society. But we can say right now we cannot do without electricity, isn't it? In fact, right now we are all discussing the tokens and why it is expensive. We have forgotten that previously there was no electricity. But that is the problem, or that is the challenge of innovation. And when we have innovation and we invent positions, we invent offices, it also has the fears that come with the office. And that is why for us, this meeting was very important. Because everybody asks me, was this office put to advise? And if it was to advise, where does it sit? In a dark corner office to push paper, isn't it? That is what advisory looks like. But guess what? For as long as even in your office you advise because you're seated in a dark corner office, your advisory does not have the weight because it doesn't have the input of those who it is supposed to serve. So we must get out there, we must get our hands full, and we must advise pegged on data. We must advise pegged on what is real, what is needed, and what needs to be done. And that is what our office has been doing. I'm also encouraged today because I know in future we'll not be talking about female or male leaders. Because our male champions, if we don't work together, in future we'll just be talking about leaders. Tafakari hayo. In future, we'll be talking about leaders. And it's upon all of us to create the leaders we want for the future. If I look in this room, in the next 15, 20, 30 years, where will we be? If we have not fashioned our succession plan, we have all failed in all these big things we are talking about. The banks, if you do not fashion your succession plan, pegged on what you want to achieve, we will all fail because just like Maendeleo ya Wanawake has given us a good report on what was there before, which we didn't know. It then means if we don't churn and have proper documentation, proper data, proper succession planning, all these things we are doing becomes a story. And trust you me, if you do not have that person to carry your story forward, there'll be no one. It's as good as dead. Any society also that is afraid to harness 50% of its potential and create energy and creativity around women, young people, the youth, persons with disability, it's a very disadvantaged society. Why do we say that? You have left half of the potential of that society out. I know the CEOs in this room, you'll tell me, the people you work with, the women are very hardworking. They have come and told me that. For as long as a board has diversity, you can actually see the outcomes because you have everybody in the room. So for the men in the room, I want to applaud you for being here. But I can also tell you, when you talk about a woman, you're actually talking about the woman and her children. And when you talk about the woman and her children, the boy child is not left behind. But the question we are asking this society, where are the men to create the forge for the young men? We cannot blame the women for bringing up their sons. The men must show up. You must create the forge for your sons. As women, just like the ducks, we will carry our ducklings along, and that is our children. So we welcome you to be the voices that we need as men, and we want you also to carry the gender agenda forward, because the gender agenda is not just about women. In our office, we are now talking about women and children. When we talk about GBV, GBV is cutting across board. You've seen the statistics. The oldest raped woman is 83 years old. And if you think it's an old story, it's very current. I will not mention the counties, but there's the counties where we have young girls married at an early age. Where are the young women to be married by your sons? What have you created in that society? Widows are being raped in this country. We are not talking about it. In urban centers, young boys are being raped, and the statistics are bad. Do you want me to drop the bombshell? In Mukuru slums last year, we had 1,658 raped boys. Multiply that by 12. Multiply that by 15 years. We will not have men. Is that shocking? Is that shocking? Guess what? Those are reported cases. Those are reported cases. How about unreported cases? The oldest raped woman is 83 years old, reported, and there are many. The youngest is 5 months. Gender disaggregated data. When we talk about a child, we have forgotten about 0 to 11 years. So when we talk about these issues, and these are the issues that are affecting the society, we're also saying we cannot handle these issues from one vantage point. We need everybody on board. So ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm honestly thrilled to welcome each of you to today's conversation that helps us collectively look at women's rights landscape in this country. Today is very unique because we've all come together to exchange good ideas and engage on matters pertaining to the women. More specifically, how can we all accelerate gender parity within our sphere of influence? We are here to envision and ignite real systematic change for the benefit of women and girls across the country. Let's get inspired, get engaged, and get moving together. We have had the panel discussion that looked into one segment of rights that is linked to women economic empowerment and investment. We have seen the Women's Charter, and which we are driving as an office to see its realization and fruition. The big question we asked this morning is, why are we here today? We all acknowledge that kidole kimoja kiui chawa, sivyo? In every space you're in, there's one thing or another that you are doing to help a woman or a child enjoy their rights and create a safe space for them. A report by Equal Measures indicates that if we continue at the pace that we are in right now, no country will achieve sustainable development goals. We are also informed that it will take a girl born today 139 years to achieve gender equality and enjoy any of the SDG goals set. We know as we stand here today that out of the 17 goals, 14 are directly linked to gender parity and therefore require all hands on deck to make their achievements a reality. At the end of the event, I will ask us to commit to reducing the duration that our children will take to get to a point of enjoying the SDGs. 139 years is a very long time. Our mandate as an office is very simple. Carry out advocacy and develop advisory for His Excellency the President on strategic issues affecting women and children. We are here to forge strategic partnerships with you. We hope to persuade you to commit your space and we thus accelerate gender parity across all sectors. For the past 2 years, we have visited women in the counties. We have engaged civil society. We have engaged the county governors. We have engaged with all women leaders and the regulatory professional agencies in the case to drive the President's agenda. And now we want to engage the private sector with the aim of forging a strong multi-sectoral approach in driving the government gender agenda. We all agree issues affecting women and children are very emotive. We are all fully aware of what is happening in the country, in particular, gender-based violence and discrimination. GBV against women and children is on a rise. Women have been violated, discriminated against. The cases of violence against children, teenage pregnancies, early marriages, and neglect are some of the issues that we are faced with. If we do not collectively address them, the country's economy will forever remain unstable. The question we ask here today is, what do we do as a society? Where do we go from here? How do we get our women and children to safe spaces? This is a conversation we need to have, all of us as a community. We need to think about collectively taking action as a society. In addressing the issues mentioned, we have outlined the 4 strategic pillars that we are putting our weight on. That is women economic empowerment and investments, where our banks come in big. Leadership and democratic space, where our women leaders have to drive. Social and legal justice, where Kenya law reforms is seated here to drive that agenda on our behalf. We also have research and data. This is the direction we have chosen to focus on. This is where you need to come in and support us. It is not possible for the government or any one partner to address all these issues. You will agree with me, societal issues are broad. The gender space is huge. Nobody and all of us cannot just sit and say one person can drive the gender agenda. It is not possible. We need to have concerted efforts and support from various partners to consolidate our gains and resources, scaling up and putting together national initiatives. I want all of us, or to urge all partners present, to make commitments to reaching our target of a minimum of 5 million, of which my personal target is 8 million. You should clap. $8 million women with initiatives that will allow them to thrive and reach their full potential. 5 million as presented is just but the minimum target of the office. I want all of us, before we leave here today, to commit in supporting any of the programs and accelerate them. Seated here are our women leaders. They will not do it alone. They will do it with you on that table. On card, we have our flagship initiatives, Safe Home, Safe Spaces Initiative. This is a 3-year national initiative that aims to educate, sensitize, create awareness leading to the reduction of sexual and gender-based violence. The trends we have witnessed in the recent days paint a grim picture for our women and girls. All players must be ignited, including our boda riders who have impacted the young girls and women negatively with teenage pregnancies on the rise in counties where we have an influx of boda riders. Another initiative is the Widows Empowerment Program. It looks at the vulnerability of the widows and what they face in terms of cultural setbacks. This aligns with ensuring that we bring back dignity for widows and orphans in this country. Women stand at 52% of Kenya's population. The voting basket also calls for about the same number. This is a constituency that requires all of us to put our hands and minds together, formulate solutions that will bring systematic and lasting change. You'll agree with me, public sector has its role to play. Private sector has its role to play. You'll also agree with me that CBOs up to grassroots have their role to play, and the law enforcement agencies also do have their role to play. How then do we ensure that these constituencies actually enjoy the SDGs sooner than later? I'm calling on us to work together and accelerate gender parity within our institutions. Diverse teams drive innovation and better decision-making for economic growth. Fair representation is a fundamental human right for social justice. It is our ethical responsibility to create inclusive workplaces that need morality within their right space. For us to jointly achieve this, a few strategic measures must be put in place. First, we must be having proper leadership and leadership commitment. Senior leaders must visibly champion gender parity initiatives. In our recruitment and hiring practices, let us purpose to remove gender language and biases. And of course, we should actively seek out qualified female candidates. Within Bunge, I still ask, why do we ask women whether they are married or not, whether they have children in those interviews? When we take offices, the families don't run these offices. It is the woman seated on that seat. Secondly, let us support mentorship and sponsorship programs. Pairing women with senior leaders for guidance and support is something we all can encourage at the workplace. Provide opportunities for women to advance their careers. Finally, let us inculcate workplace cultures that embrace gender-neutral language in all communication. Ensure we implement strict policies against harassment and discrimination. Create safe spaces for women to network and support each other. Where policies are put in place, we are the consumers and implementers of the same. Where are these policies sitting? In most cases, they're locked in some drawer collecting dust. Ladies and gentlemen, the time for change is here with me and you. The change agents is you and I. We stand on the brink of breakthrough that will ripple through generations to come. We have the ability together to alter the landscape of gender equality in Kenya. Bridging the gap, championing rights, creating safe spaces for all. But we can only do this if each of us commits to be more than observers. We must be the drivers of action. In most cases, we point fingers and say the government must. Can we start asking ourselves, what are we doing? What am I doing? Within your small sphere of influence, it doesn't have to be big, before you call on the government, because implementation and policies, laws are already there. Today, I call upon each of you to rise to this moment. Let us unite to reach our target numbers, to create safe homes and safe spaces, to dignify women and girls, to inspire equal opportunities for all. The SDGs are a shared journey, and we have to accelerate gender parity so that we reduce the 139 years to reach equality. It is my hope that you shall join me in accelerating the timeline. Let us ensure that a girl born today will live in a world where gender equality isn't an aspiration, but a reality. Let us also ensure that the young boys we are bringing up are ready to meet the challenging and the strong-willed girls that we are all bringing up. That today we shall all sign up to support the gender agenda and align your CSR activities with the government agenda. Only then can we accelerate the numbers that we are looking for. Join us to take the bold steps, and let's make Kenya a beacon of equality, justice, and dignity for all of us. Let us make history together. Sign up not tomorrow. Sign up not only to partner with us, but to be part of the accelerator. Thank you very much. Asanteni sana.